Morning, John.
Good morning.
How's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. You a little tired?
A little tired, yeah.
We all between.
It was a long time in the desert.
Yeah.
But 6 days in the desert is tough.
Yeah.
So
Perry's been driving all day.
Dang.
Yesterday.
Yep.
Our buddy Parrey Cremeans is here from passing through, going hunting.
Yep.
Appreciate you taking the time to stop by.
It's I just don't get to Idaho often enough. I just remember early on I used to come elk hunting here, deer hunting here. Every year. This year, heck, I did wait 9 hours on the phone though for a deer tag.
You did trying to get one?
Oh, here in Idaho?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get a deer tag, and now I'm not going to be able to go.
That's right. You did. Yeah.
It's weird how it works out. You free up your fall so you can go hunting, and then you as you go along in the West, and you're gathering points all over and this stuff, and you just got to keep your fingers crossed you don't draw it all in one season.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was this season for me, and then we have a moose hunt we're going on. I get back and I'm home for 20 days for our deer season.
Oh.
Then I turn around and go to southeast Colorado for a mule deer hunt.
Oh.
Then I get back from there, and then I have about 10 days, and I have a muzzleloader mule deer hunt in California.
Oh, wow.
Which that tag, 21 years took me to draw it.
Wow.
Oh, wow. On your time home, when you're going to be home, are you going to guiding or hunting?
I'm actually helping some folks out that are doing some outdoor TV stuff.
Oh, cool.
So I'll do that for a few days, and then I have some other youth guys that I'm helping out. And of course, I have a little skin in the game because one of the guys is really versed in the area where I'm muzzleloader hunting for mule deer.
Oh, nice.
So we're trading.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
And that's how this industry works,
It's such a small world, but man, it seems like you can always find buddies or people that you've.
Oh, it is a totally who you know world.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's that way everywhere, but especially in the hunting business.
And you've talked a little bit about your grew up and your business you got just for hunting.
Yeah. So I grew up in Northern California. Believe it or not, I was born in San Francisco. Don't hold that against me. My mom was smart enough to get us out of there and when I was 6 years old and move us to Northern California. Huh. And I mean, you notice I overemphasize Northern California.
Yeah.
And my old, I work for Mossy Oak as well, and my old boss there, Tim Anderson, and I think you met Tim before, and unfortunately he passed away a few years ago, and we lost him, a great guy. But he would always introduce me. This is Parrey Cremeans from Northern California.
I don't think people realize, because I grew up in Northern California too, how rural it is up there.
How different, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's not much different than living here.
And I always
people think California, just think a city.
Right.
I grew up in a little farming town too. I mean, and it was
it was
small.
Conservative.
Yeah,
right?
very. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and I always, when I talk to people about California, I say, Northern California, and I'm like, we're as normal as it gets here.
Right. That's a fact.
That's all you can do, and it's and where I live in Shasta County, Redding, California, it's the unfortunate thing is we actually vote right, we do everything right for what we want in the state, but it makes no difference. In fact, we're so conservative in what they think, I don't know, right wing or whatever they want to call us. The state puts a target on us.
Really?
They're trying to infiltrate the legislation with all of their people so they can change it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's how bad it is as far as politicians taking over the world.
Yeah.
And we don't even have to. I mean, you don't have to talk anybody into that. All you got to do is look at the national level of politics.
Yeah.
And who's running the country.
Yeah.
Not
absolutely.
to get on politics, but it's unfortunate that and we're older folks, so
seasoned.
Yeah, seasoned, Perry. Get it right.
We're seasoned
there you
folks. Go. So, and as much as you might not realize it, but old dudes do rule.
Yeah.
And the reason is because they wrote it. I mean, it's wisdom,
Yeah.
I mean, you can read all the books you want, but look at all the TV shows you want. But if you haven't lived it, I mean, that's where you get the experience.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like I know we were chatting a little bit last night about just. The generation now has no clue what it was like when we grew up and had to read a magazine for information.
Right.
You know, and literally buy the magazine or get a subscription. I mean, it's unfortunate. I mean, even most of your bigger magazines and stuff are all online now. They don't do
They are, you know, and I used to look forward to getting a magazine.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And I still, in fact, it's, my wife yesterday said, hey, don't be surprised if that 1.5 foot stack of magazines that I just tripped over is gone when you get home. Because I save them, because there's articles in there that really kind of hit you, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like you didn't already know, but it reminds you, gosh dang, you know, I need to remember to do this when
It's
I'm
true. Yeah.
sitting there waiting for the wind to change, or,
Yeah.
you know, I'm 200 yards out and need to get to 30, you know?
Right.
So it's, but yeah, now everything's in these little phones, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and that's another disadvantage a seasoned guys have is I carry around these readers.
Mm-hmm.
I've been blessed to have good eyes my whole life, and now I still only need readers.
Me
you
too.
know, long ways
that's good.
away, I'm fine. And but yeah, the phones are like addicting.
Yeah.
It's crazy how addicting. But at the same time, like yesterday on the drive up, you know, going through Nevada, we all know how windshield time works in Nevada.
Yeah.
But so I called the folks at OnX, you know, and just to chat with them a little bit and make sure that I had everything clicked in right and everything was good for their service in Canada.
Oh.
You know? So and yeah, if you don't have OnX, you know, you're missing out bad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's crazy how detailed and how good it works. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a game changer out in the field too. And you,
Oh, yeah. And I've used it in story this year. I did a backpack trip on Father's Day weekend with our church, like 15, 17 guys or something. And, you know, as we all know, we had a great winter this year, even in California. You know? But still, they won't admit the drought's over.
Right.
Filled up our lake, but they won't admit the drought's over. So we got there, and I usually pre-scout it, go in and check the trail, make sure everything's good. But we just do it like a 3.5 mile hike into a lake and just hang out with some guys for a couple nights. And we got there, and we got to the trailheads at like 5,000. So we started hiking, and at about 56, we started running into snowbanks.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, and this is, you know, June 16th.
Wow.
You know? And usually in the Trinity Alps in California, you're good. And the end of June, if you want to get above 7,000, but usually good below that. Well, we got in there that you couldn't find the trail. You know, we had guys that, you know, didn't make it in. They stopped halfway and camped, and we met them at the trailhead the next day.
Really?
But with OnX, I used OnX to follow the trail, and believe it or not, the popcorn trail that left, the tracking, it was, I mean, when I laid it out, it was right on the trail, even though it was over the top of 7 feet of snow.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, so was it back there in the lake? Was it snow then? Oh.
So this is the best part of the whole trip is not that we made it to the lake, but when we got to the lake, it was still frozen.
Really?
Oh, geez.
Yeah, there was about 20 feet around the lake that was thawed that sheeted every night.
Oh,
Resheeted
wow.
every night. So still caught a few fish, but my wife and I, we hiked back in there with our dogs about 2.5 weeks later,
Yeah.
and it was just perfect. There was just a few patches of snow. The lake was thawed. Everything was beautiful. So that's how fast it happens there.
Wow.
You know? But
So yeah, all the lake, Shasta's full?
Shasta's full. It's probably about 20 feet down now. But if you drive down the Central Valley in California,
Yeah.
there's crops planted everywhere.
Oh.
If they're not planted, the fields are plowed,
Yeah.
and they're using that water.
Oh.
But
Right on.
water is crazy. It's like, it's a shame that for hundreds of years we still haven't been able to figure out water. And water is the lifeblood of
I
everything.
think it's a control thing though.
Oh, it's a total control
Yeah,
thing.
I mean-
yeah, it's the whatever Bureau of Reclamation or something. They want to tear these dams down. They don't understand. You put these dams in for a reason,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like a perfect example is the dams up on the Columbia. They want to take those dams out. Well, what are they going to do with the Washington crop industry?
Yeah.
All those ag, the wine, all the crops in Washington State, they run off of that river. They have some sort of aqua system
Mm-hmm.
that irrigates all the fields. And how are they going to, they're going to put those guys out of business?
Yeah, that's what it'd probably be like, yeah. Huh.
that's waters. There's so many subjects that when we get on bureaucratic stuff that they just, sure, any of us three, if you give us the key for a day, we could fix it.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's how we roll.
They'd only listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So I was trying to think earlier about when we met. I can't remember when we met. I know it's been in the hunting industry.
it was so I started working for Mossy Oak in 2008.
Okay, so probably would have been
As a
around
pro
then,
staff
huh?
manager, yeah, and it
Okay.
was back then, and I think it was probably through, because I have some folks over in Boise that are on my team,
Yeah,
and looking for more candidates for the
Yeah.
Mossy Oak pro staff, for the
Yeah.
field staff we do,
Yeah.
and I think that somehow we got hooked up through that.
yeah, I think you're
Yeah,
right.
and then you came down and hunted pigs in California. We hunted,
Because you have just for hunting, correct?
yeah, just for hunting, justforhunting.com. We do. We do some land, we like to call it land management, because even though we do hunt, all of our stuff we manage for the wildlife.
Oh.
And every place we've ever had, whether the landowner decided to stick with us or not, when we left, it was better wildlife than when we came.
Oh, nice.
So
Nice.
that's how we roll, and it's like, and the reach, working for Mossy Oak is, most people don't understand how big Mossy Oak is. Because they don't have that arrogance of some of the other outdoor companies.
Yeah,
They just are. When you see some of these commercials on Mossy Oak with Toxie and his boys and stuff out in the field with dirt, that's what they do. That's
Yeah.
their everyday thing, man. They're not faking a commercial or something. That's what they do, and it's just that family feeling that they have with everything. And anybody that's, you had Luke out here last year.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke Combs, and same deal. He's a Mossy Oak guy,
Yeah.
man. And it's not like you had to talk him into it.
yeah,
He's not getting paid anything.
right, absolutely, yeah.
But with that reach, I could find just about anybody, and vet anybody. So, and it's, I hate to say it, but in every industry, there's some duds.
Yeah,
And another thing to do with us seasoned guys is you learn you don't need to deal with the duds, man.
Yeah.
Time is too valuable.
yeah.
You know.
Man, especially the older you do get, time is so much more precious.
Yeah.
And you think more about, kind of smelling the roses
Oh
a
man.
little more, and because, man, life does go by fast.
It does, and you got a goal, and to
Yeah.
accomplish that goal, what do you need? You don't need to get derailed by some guy that's going to cause you some problems,
Right.
or some gal or whatever. And you hate to, hunting's kind of I believe it or not, it's a individual sport, but it's so much funner when you have some buddies around.
Yeah.
Even if you separate and go 3 different directions or 4 different directions, and come back at night and tell the story. That's
like
right.
our antelope camp, is summer years is bigger than others, but it's a blast.
Yeah.
Because you all
Y'all
kind of
meet
go
back
your
at
separate
camp.
ways. Yep.
Yeah, and you got a campfire and
Yeah.
some food and whatever, whiskey or beer or whatever you want
Yeah.
to drink, or soda. And that camaraderie around a campfire
Yeah.
is really what it's all about.
Yeah.
The harvest and the hunt, that's kind of, I would consider it secondary, even though that is the ultimate goal of your trip. But if you can't have fun doing it, and that's what's nice about getting more seasoned is, I shot my first deer in, gosh dang, it was 1975 in Northern California, and my first bow deer in 79. So since then, I've seen a lot of things hit the dirt, and for myself and others. But now it's like, don't get me wrong, I like shooting big deer, big critters, mature animals, what it's all about. But when I used to go, I'd go by myself a lot when I was younger, because not all my buddies couldn't go. So I'd just pack up and go for 9 days or whatever. And when you're by yourself, you really have a lot of time to reflect.
Absolutely.
And the unfortunate thing about it is, if you're by yourself reflecting, you usually reflect back home where your family is.
Right.
So it makes you want to shortchange yourself and leave early.
Oh, yeah, I've had
You
that
know,
happen.
and even if the hunting's good, sure, you get done and you leave early. But if it's bad, it makes you want to leave even more. But
That's right.
yeah, that's that. That's what guys talk about, is for the, like a guy that really touts himself for that is Cameron. Cameron Haynes, because he's just like, he just grits it out no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, and some people don't have that mental stamina like that. But you really need it to succeed in the woods or even in this industry. But back to the camp, if you're with somebody, even one buddy,
Yeah.
you know, you guys can go hunting together or not hunting together and compare notes
Right.
and figure out a plan for the next day. But sure makes it a lot easier than, you know, getting back at dark and
Yeah.
putting your headlamp on and
Going to bed
Trying
because you
to-
don't have nothing else.
yeah, just thinking, well, what did I do wrong today?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You know.
How long have you been doing just for hunting? How long has that been?
2004 is when I started it. And the intention there was, you know, obviously I enjoyed hunting. But what I really enjoyed was, and this goes back to the print magazines, you know. Back then I would be, you know, I'd be in Eastman's or Field and Stream, or there were some Western magazines that were coming around, and reading a lot of articles, and it appealed to me to convey knowledge, you know. And I don't want to say I saw it early, but I saw that we would need to keep people engaged in our sport to keep it going. You know, obviously being in California, it was early when they started messing with us out there. So with that, the intention was to have something that I could use down the road when I retired, you know, kind of just a secondary something to do in the woods. And it just
Keep you in the woods.
it keeps you in the woods, and it just I kind of trickled along with it. And then when I started working for Mossy Oak in 2008, did a couple TV shows. I'm really good friends with Scott Haugen, and we did some stuff together, and man, it just blew up. And you know, then it got busy, you know. Unfortunately, at that time I was in another business that I had ownership, so I could kind of cater my schedule a little bit and use some of that additional time. But, you know, obviously and most people will understand this, that the outdoor business is not going to pay the bills.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Don't think it is, unless you're one of these big companies, and there's about probably, I don't know, between 20 and 30 of them that are actual companies that, you know, pay the bills.
And in reality, you think about how many different companies have merged with other companies to make it work. They just don't do one thing. They've got to be, it seems like they've got to be more diversified. Am I correct on that? You know, that.
Oh, the bad thing now is, and we all see it not just in the outdoor industry, but in the corporate world period,
Yeah.
is all these different investment companies
Yeah.
that buy up, you know, like Pure Archery or, you know, ATK or whatever. They buy all these different companies and bring them under the same umbrella.
Yeah.
You know, and they bought them in the first place because they're profitable.
Right.
Most of it's, I mean, you have investment companies that buy some companies that are going south and try to rebuild them,
Yeah.
but most of them aren't going to do that. They're going to buy it because it's profitable.
Yeah.
And then they, unfortunately, the corporate thing is like, I always figure, I equate it this way. In the corporate world, they go around the block twice to go next door. That's how long
That's
it
a good
takes,
analogy,
you know?
though.
Yeah, I'm telling
Pretty
you.
true. But you know, the sad thing I've seen, and I've seen it, I don't want to mention no companies' names, but one that I was involved with that I watched them go from a big company to getting bought out, that type of thing. But the problem is the umbrella it was bought under, a lot of it, the hunting drive, I guess you want to call it, wasn't there. And so it kind of took, for lack of better word, just kind of back seat to, you know, it wasn't like their passion just wasn't quite there. And it's unfortunate when people start these companies up, they really got a passion for it, but it loses it when it gets put under that umbrella.
Or put to
And-
someone else that doesn't have that same drive.
Yeah.
No, there's, unfortunately, you know, and we could mention, there's a number of outdoor companies that are that way.
Yeah.
And the thing about outdoor companies is most of our gear, our technical gear in the outdoor world, the hunting world, came from companies like Patagonia or North Face or something, and we just decorated it in camo.
Right.
You know, it's the same technical gear.
Yeah.
We're not going to sell some of these backpack, like it's right now everybody thinks they need a backpack. You know, it's not for everybody. You know, some of them make a real good one.
Yeah.
Some don't.
Yeah.
But you're doing one thing really well, and you want to expand. It's just natural for business to add on to your inventory. You know, your SKUs, but you're not going to sell back into that industry. You know, so don't try to sell your stuff. Don't try to make something for the backpack industry, because they, believe it or not, they really don't like us as hunters. You know.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
true.
But just do the best that you can do at what you do. You know, don't think you have to, you know, and I get it. I mean, everybody wants to do better and expand, and,
Yeah.
you know, it's just human nature to do better and build.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have so much, there's so much good stuff in our industry right now.
Yeah, there is.
Really good stuff. And it's, you know, you think it's expensive, and some of it's pretty expensive, but there's a lot of stuff that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really reasonably priced for, and I mean, this is an equation that most people never hear. So in the West, west of the Rockies, say, we have about 2.2 million hunters. You know, unfortunately, it's declining, you know, so that's why we need to get more stuff in schools, archery in schools, whatever.
Back in schools.
Yeah, my wife's a school teacher, and like yesterday, she took a big, it was A day for the alphabet, right? So she took a big set of antlers.
Oh, cool.
You know, and takes it in and shows the kids, brings some velvet antlers and shows them it's pretty cool. The kids get to feel it, and, you know, exposure. But now they're taking archery out of schools and all this stuff, and it's ridiculous, because 2.2 million hunters west of the Rockies, well, there's over 12.2 million in the east. So figure out that demographic. That's why you see a lot of the Western companies, the pie is getting really small in the West. You know, you see I see it at like the expo, you know, being in the, working for Mossy Oak, I recognize all camos, right? So there used to be, like, I think they said there were 168 patterns or something like that.
Really?
Like 15 years ago, right?
Wow.
Now, I bet there's 368 patterns, you know, because everybody can make their own pattern, the digital stuff.
Digital stuff, yeah.
And I mean, I just can't imagine, I'm talking from a business standpoint, trying to make money, right? I can't imagine some of these folks are not working their tail off to make just a regular limit.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And the Western demographic now, and you see it with the, you know, QU, First Light, Sitka, Kings, all these guys. And those, I say those four, because those are really the four main players in the West. And they're all trying for part of that Eastern demographic. But the Eastern demographic is so set in that, and you've been to the South, and you've been into turkey hunting, so you know. I mean, the number one pattern in the world right now, I'll guarantee you, is bottomland.
Still, huh?
Still, yeah.
It's so funny how it kind of is. I say it never went away, but how in the last, I don't know how many years now, it's almost like it was brand new again, huh?
It is brand new again.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, it was one of the original patterns.
Right.
And it just, you know, and Mossy Oak's a perfect example. They had to build that different pattern every year.
Yeah.
To give the consumer something,
Right.
Right.
But really, what the consumer wants is old school.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what the bottomland
And
is.
it's almost like fashions and fads that the old stuff comes back. You know, you're always hearing that stuff.
It's totally
kids
is.
nowadays. I say kids, but the young adults, whatever, they stuff that was cool to us back in the day. At one point, they would have thought was not cool at all, and now they think it just got invented.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But in reality, it was like, really, we've already been there.
Maybe we can call that younger demographic unseasoned adults.
Unseasoned adults. new little words there for us, John.
And kudos to them for trying.
Absolutely.
You know, get out there and try. But I'm telling you, I talked to a guy in California this year about guiding. You know, and he's a up and comer, one of these guys that runs around for the trophy thing. You know, and just trying to be that guy, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I learned a long time ago. It's a lot of work for a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you don't love it, if you don't love the guiding thing,
Yeah.
or the, you know, even the outfitting thing or booking or whatever, if you don't love it and you're helping people, if your goal's not helping people, you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't do it. I mean,
That's kind of how I even got started. It's like, you know, I was fortunate enough to get my animals, and then I still wanted to be out there. So buddies, I started just taking buddies or going with buddies and whatnot, not for pay or anything, just for fun, just to be out there. And then you get some offers, hey, do you want to make, you want to guide professionally or, or take clients out and get paid? It's like, well, shoot, I guess I was doing it for free. I can do it for.
Yeah, and here you go out and do it a couple times, and all of a sudden you get paid $150 a day, and you're going, wait a minute here, wait a minute.
Right.
In your real life, would you work for less than $300 a day?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you won't.
Yeah.
You can't live on that, know.
It's a fact.
And that's what I tell people is, unless you're doing this just for a little bit of mad money,
Yeah.
it's even us as owning the company, and I mean paying outfitters or paying guides, and we try to treat people right. We have a scale that if the more people that you're guiding, especially pig hunts, we like pig hunts. If you have 4 guys, you can make some money. You can probably make 3.5 a day or something. But if you're just doing one guy, there's no money in it.
Yeah.
No money in it's not the right word. There's not enough money in it that you're going to be able to go home and your wife's going to say you should do that again.
That's pretty true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
and you do some brokering too, right?
we do. We're once again, it's that who you know world.
Yeah.
And it's validation. Because there's plenty of. The thing that kills me, and you guys get the same thing, is when you hear that story about somebody that paid somebody some money and they went on a guided hunt and it was a catastrophe.
Oh, yeah.
I cringe. I feel sorry for the guy because he might have vetted, and some guys, it's hunting, stuff goes wrong, right? That can happen. But when you hear about, the guide showed up drunk, or the accommodations were horrible, we slept on the dirt or something like that, you're not paying, and nowadays the price went up so much on hunts after COVID, like in New Mexico. I mean, we used to have a place in Angel Fire that I would help Mossy Oak out on elk hunts, and the landowner tags were like $3,500. Now you can't get one for under $6,500, and that's just the tag.
Wow.
So elk hunts in New Mexico are now up to 10 to 13,000.
Yeah.
They just doubled that fast.
I went on a drop camp with a buddy of mine who was getting guided one year, and I remember I got to the tent before he did, and his guide walked in. And first of all, our accommodations were not great. They just weren't great. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess because I've been around it enough that, to my opinion, I know I've said this before, if the accommodations and the food are good and they're satisfied there, the hunting can be not as good, but at least you're coming back to a good warm meal, in a good camp. But if the hunting's not very good and the camp sucks too, it's bad. But the guide walked in, and 2 different mornings, I finally said something. Knowing me, I finally had to say something, because the second day he's like, I did not want to get up today. And I'm thinking,
that's not what I want to hear.
Exactly. Right? Fortunately, my friend wasn't there, but the second day I'm like, dude, if you were my guide and you came in here and told me, and I heard you say that, I'd be so pissed.
Oh, yeah.
You got to come in there with bright-eyed and bushy-tail, man, and ready to go. And
Oh, yeah. If you're not an optimist, you don't even show up.
Yeah.
And that's it, and I've been blessed to be, my glass is not even half full. It's refillable.
Absolutely.
So it's like that attitude, you can almost get anything out of that.
Yeah.
And it's the grass is always greener, and I just tell folks, sure, we've all heard you should have been here yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And
it is hunting. People just got to understand it. It is hunting. You can only control, that's the thing, I guess, as an outfitter. You can only control what you can control.
Exactly.
The hunting part, the critters you can't, unless it's high fence or something, you can't really control.
Yeah, and or the shooting. Yeah,
that's true too. Yeah,
we have a guy that we've been. We had some folks that bought a package at a dinner where they got an elk tag, a antelope tag, and a deer tag on a private ranch, right? And so we shot the elk Saturday before last. Shot a nice 350 bull.
Nice.
There's a lot of deer there, but the tag goes through the end of November.
Oh.
Well, the guy that was shooting the antelope, because these 3 guys went in together and they're all hunting together, he's already missed like 4
Really?
antelope with a gun.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But so what more can you do, right?
Yeah.
And
Show them the critters. They
bless
get a
his heart,
shot.
the guy's having a great time, and we have, and the fun. That's the thing. It's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, myself and my partner Steve, we're actually, fun guys to hang out with.
Yeah.
And they just like to come and hang out and eat the good food and that stuff. And the guy wanted to shoot long range, so we missed a couple long range shots, and now we're like, get a little closer. Here, get a little closer. But we still keep taking him.
Yeah.
But that's nothing. You don't have control over that.
Right. No.
You can't.
I can say, the times I've been hunting with you, and I know John's was there too on the ranch and stuff. We've always been super pleased with. Saw plenty of critters, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And always had opportunities. So
And we don't. The guides that we use, they're good guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to go out. They spot game. They can know how to put a play on them. Your success is going to be, it should be on private ground.
Yeah.
Sure.
You got to have it. But we just been blessed to have some properties, and that's growing up in the North State and following the game for, 50 years. You just kind of learn where you want to be.
Yeah.
And private land is obviously a different story, right? I mean, you pay for a private land hunt and you expect success.
Yeah.
So we really got to deliver, and the success is pretty high. We're in the high 90s for pigs. We're 100% on our elk, but we get 1 tag a year, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes 3, like last year.
Yeah, or 3. We that's per ranch. We have different ranches where we go hunting and stuff, and in the low country, it's crazy how many elk are there now in the oak savannas.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean
Do they raise the tag? Have they raised the tags much?
The tag fees in
Quantity
California.
or-
No, just quantity of tags.
So they haven't raised the elk tags in California for, I don't think ever. In fact,
Should they be?
Yeah, they should be. They're doing an elk study right now, and I actually had the biologist out one day and brought her out, and she's doing the elk study, and showed her, all the elk that were on us, and explained to her where these elk come from, how many there is, the amount of bulls, and the northeastern unit is the one we're in, right? So it's from Red Bluff to the Oregon border over to the Nevada border, that whole corner. That's huge.
That
That
is.
is huge.
And there's 15 tags, gun tags.
Wow.
15 gun tags, 10 bow tags, 5 cow tags, and 2 apprentice tags, which are the youth, right?
Wow.
Now, is there more than that to shoot? There is. They need to divide it up is what they need to do.
Right.
And there's actually elk south of Highway 36 that don't get hunted. There's no zone.
Oh, really?
And that's how it was in where our ranch is. So 2011 was the first time you could hunt those elk.
Huh.
And they've been there since 1914.
Really? 1914.
Wow.
Yeah, they brought them in by rail car from Gardner, Montana, to a little town called Winthrop, which is now at the bottom of Shasta Lake.
Really?
Yeah. So they brought them in 1914. Those folks in Winthrop, they started hunting them right away. They brought in like 35 or 37 elk. They started hunting them. They brought them in for food, But then they said, well, if we shoot them all right now, there's going to be no elk.
Yeah.
So they kind of let them go for a while. And, excuse me, if you've ever been to Shasta Lake, it's brushy. I have to think in 1914 it was brushy too. So they just kind of dispersed in the mountains there. And then, of course, in the late 30s and early 40s, they started building Shasta Lake. So then filled it up. That town went away. Well, the elk were on the other side, on the north side of Shasta Lake.
Oh.
And then they started filtering over to the south. And there never was enough feed in those low oak savannas to support that big of an animal. So the population never really grew. Well, now, the last 2 decades, the cow business has got so big, everybody has ag. So that's where you find them. There's like a 25 or 30 mile radius around eastern Reading where those elk live, and they rotate around on the ag.
Oh, really?
Yep. So, and there's probably, I mean, if I had to guess, in our herd, the low country herd, there's probably between 300 and 400 animals. Now, if you expand it out as far as Bernie, because there's elk in places that there never used to be elk, and the biologist tells me when they get to about 90 head, they split. So it makes sense that they're going to go out and develop herds, kind of just like those silly wolves they put there.
Right. Right.
Oh, they didn't
we're
put 'em-
running
they
into
didn't
that
put 'em
problem
there.
too. Nobody's immune from that problem.
Yeah, no shit.
But anyways, it's California gets shortchanged, and you and I talked about it last year. California's the only place that has Thule elk.
Thule elk, yeah.
Yeah, so if you're doing your 29, you got to figure out, you better
Yeah.
get in line because
Yeah.
they're selling those Thule elk tags. If you don't draw one, are about 28 to 38 grand.
Wow.
Jeez.
Which you took last year wasn't the first that you know of?
As far as I know, it was the first. I mean, I did do a lot of research on it, but I called it the California trifecta because we have all three species, Thule, Roosevelt, and Rockies in California. And I had a client, I call him a friend, but he's a client, retired basketball player. So, he was ready to go hunting, and he bought a tag for all three species.
Wow.
So in one season.
Where did he buy? Was that at a raffle type thing or?
No, they're PLM tags.
Oh, the PLM.
So the thing about the PLM tags,
Yeah, maybe explain that a little bit.
yeah.
'Cause,
So
I mean,
private
like-
land management
Yeah.
is it's a state program, and what you do is you sign up for this state program, and they'll give you tags for doing wildlife improvement. And they're not free or anything. You still have to buy them. You have to pay to be in the program, and then if the tags are available, they'll give you like elk tag or deer tag or antelope tag.
Is it only good on that ranch?
It's only good on that ranch.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you're on the private land management program, you cannot hunt that ranch with a regular deer tag or a regular elk tag. You have to exchange your tag for that PLM tag.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and you can buy, it's unlimited. Some people say it's the deer tags they limit, but I haven't seen where that's the case. But the elk tags you can buy, obviously all three, and it's kind of a cool deal. So we hunted like August, the first week of August, we hunted Roosevelt's on the coast. I mean, you're looking at the ocean.
Wow.
And
Are they rutting at all? That I know that the rut's a little bit different than here because
yeah, so the first week of August, they're just scraping off, just starting to hang out with the cows. They're way early, just like the black-tailed deer are way early
Yeah.
on the coast. So the bull we shot, I think it was on the 8th of August, we shot one. He was hard antlered, 340 bull, which is a good Roosevelt.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And you actually could see the ocean.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. Then we left there and went back to a little town called Willits the first week of September for Thule, because that's kind of when they're rutting, And we were there for 2 days and shot a 310 Thule, which, Boone and Crockett for Roosevelt's is 292, and same for Thule's 292. So he already had two
Boone and Crockett.
Boone and Crockett animals, And then we had our elk out of Reading, which we went from the coast or from Willits, and we drove over and we hunted our elk in Reading. And there was a bull that showed up early there with, we had 38, 45 cows there.
So
all summer.
was this consecutive days? You just went boom, boom, boom down it?
Yeah, there was a break between the Roosevelt in August and the Thule and the Rocky. And
Okay.
the Rocky we did last, and we shot The Rocky we shot was a 385, so it was a nice bull, but by himself with all the cows. And then, like I showed you those pictures afterwards, we had bulls showed up. They were
bigger. Yeah.
So the first thing I did was I sent that guy the pictures. So I told you should have waited. But no, he's
Probably
a really
hard to wait when you got that tag in your pocket and you know you can be hunting. Huh?
well, and he's a great guy, and he loves his family.
Yeah.
Even as much as he likes to go hunting, he likes to go back to his family.
Yeah.
And funny story, the bull in out of Millville is where we hunt. So the Redding bull, he doesn't hunt on Sundays.
Oh.
So kudos to him. You know, and so I'm out watching the elk on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I
'Cause
took
he's
all
coming
these
back Monday,
pictures
right?
and. Yeah, I took all these pictures and all this video and stuff, and I called them and I sent them texts and I said, "Hey, that bull's right here next to the road." And I said, he looks like he'll probably be here tomorrow, but you never know. And there was one time that we talked him into shooting a bull out there on a Sunday, and because this bull was running cows all over and he was going to leave, right?
Yeah.
And he ended up shooting it, and it was like a 397 or something like
Wow.
that. Yeah. But this bull, fortunately, I watched where it went, followed it all day. And then the next morning, I knew where it was going to be, and sure enough, we went out there. It was there. He made a good shot, And the nice thing is in fields, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty open. Sometimes they get into a canyon, but usually we can get right to them.
Yeah.
And we actually, winch them up onto a trailer and take them to a hoist. Get them out whole.
Wow,
It's kind of nice.
Unheard of.
But that's not,
Idaho.
Right.
those tags are expensive.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
bet.
And I always think that, man, it's about time for a reset. But it's crazy how many people have a lot of money in the hunting industry to spend on wildlife.
Well, what we were talking about last night, that you said you made one phone call or a couple phone calls and had two people
Ready
interested
to
in
pay
that.
$100,000 for a deer.
Yeah, 100 grand for a deer.
And I mean, I'm not complaining about it, and I never will, because to me, it's like one person, one animal. That's a lot of money, but as long as a good portion of it goes back into wildlife and
Right.
conservation,
Yeah.
I mean, you and I talked. I mean, if my pocket was full of money and there was no, endless money, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'd be right there next to him. In fact, I'd be bidding against him on that tag.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said that too. I know people kind of say, it can be a money game and whatever. And to get some of them premium tags, I mean, it does cost, unfortunately, but don't bash it if you wouldn't do it. And you could sit there till you're blue in the face, say, I'd never do that, I'd never do that. Well, yeah, you would.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just the tag. Those guys are paying an outfitter.
Yeah.
They're going to a town, they're buying gear, they're
Yeah.
staying in a hotel. And truly, us as regular hunters, are we targeting the best animal? Sure we are. But are we ever going to shoot that elk that some other guy, has been watching for 3 or 4 months? Probably not.
Yeah.
We're just going to go hunting where there's no folks, and we're going to shoot a good mature animal. And we don't need a guy to pay a guy $10 or $15 or $20,000 or whatever to go find an elk for us, right?
Right.
Or whatever animal.
But there's people that, also time thing, I mean, they don't have the time to go back and forth. They live in another state or whatever. So, I mean, I see the whole point on using a guide too.
And I mean, I don't know, I've been, I guess, really headlong into a few things that I don't want to call it an addiction, but it's things that you like to do, and you just have fun doing it. So you're in it.
Yeah.
And you just do it, and these guys are probably that way with these animals that they buy,
Well, you're kind of there with turkeys, right?
Let's not talk. So turkeys, if you're a turkey nut, you're a turkey nut. But,
Trying to get to the World
And,
Slam in a year.
the biggest turkey nut in the world is Hart, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's a barrel of laughs, that's for sure. And man, talk about a good dude. And I think he's got like 4 or 5 slams or something.
Wow.
And he's working on his. He's now figuring out what he's going to do on another Super Slam, which is 49 states, right?
Oh, okay.
You know, the Super Slam is shooting a turkey in 49 states because there's none available in Alaska.
Yeah.
They haven't figured out how to make them live there yet.
Keep them alive.
But no, I've you know, it's you just you find something that you like, and you know, I think we're all the same. We just devote all of our extra time to it to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just how some people are built.
Right.
You know, we're no quitters.
Right. Was it last year you did the World Slam?
Not last year. It was 2021. Did a single season World Slam.
Yeah.
And
which is maybe explain
which
that
is
to,
6. So you have they have the Slam, what is it? Slam, Grand Slam, and
Or
World Slam. And so the Slam is just North America, so or U.S. I should say, the U.S. Slam, which is Rios, Merriam's, Easterns, and Osceolas. And then we do have Goulds in Arizona, and a little bit in New Mexico, but they don't count that as one of those. So that's they count that as a North American Slam, so you get 5. And then you have the World Slam, which you add in Goulds and the Oscillated, which the Oscillated is only available in Central America, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, we did that, and it's, man, it was in 5 weeks. We did it in 5 weeks.
Wow.
Over 5 weeks. And it was, you know, California, I think.
California did your Rios?
You know what? I don't think I did. I think I shot my Rio in Hawaii. We went to Hawaii for the 49 birds, 49 states. Yeah. So we went to Hawaii earlier in March, and we went to Florida, shot the Osceola. Then after that, we went to Hawaii, shot the Rio, and then went to Alabama and Tennessee for the Easterns, and then came back and went to Washington for Merriam's. You know, and then went back to, you know, the Oscillated we did in February. It's early, so you go to
is it
Campeche? Yeah, down in the Yucatan.
Yeah,
and so that was fun. And it's early. There's nothing else going on in February, right?
A few shows. That's about it.
And then we went back to Mexico and for the Goulds and. Yeah, you know the story on that one.
You need to tell that story.
Yeah, so if you think it's safe in Mexico, you need to think again. Because, we actually were robbed by the cartel while we were there.
Oh.
I know. I mean, at American assault weapon gunpoint.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we were driving back after harvesting our turkeys.
But the outfit, I remember you saying, just maybe reiterate how it's not like it happens every time, but the guy, how long have you been in business?
30 years. So both the turkey outfitter we went with and the outfitter that I use, who he kind of brokers a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. And
I've been going with him for, I mean, I've been there 6 or 7 times for turkeys. And I mean, Steve he's been going for 25, 30 years for mule deer and never had a problem, you know. But we had a problem that day. Just driving down the road, the highway, on our way back to Hermosillo to fly home, and this truck just comes around us on the side and diagonals us right in the road.
Didn't you pass him earlier, you said?
Yeah, we passed him earlier, and he waved us by, and then all of a sudden comes up diagonals, and I thought, heck, the guy just made somebody mad, right? Well, out comes 3 muchachos with assault weapons. And, I mean, they were on the truck pretty fast. And, you know, what do? They're all speaking Spanish, you know, and I'm not very versed in Spanish, but I could tell that our guy that was running the hunt for us was like, the word Americano came up a lot.
Boy.
Yeah. So, but the way it ended, they let us keep all of our gear. I mean, the whole pickup was full of gear, guns, camera gear, everything. And, you know, I had cash in my pocket, just like always. But then the most harrowing part is when they had us put all of our gear on the side of the road, white line on the fog line, and then they said, turn around with your hands up. And you're looking into the ditch on the side of the road. And I mean,
Potentially your grave.
yeah, a lot of stuff went through your head at that time. But
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, they just jumped in the truck and left. All they wanted was the truck.
Oh, they just stole the truck.
They just stole the truck.
Wow.
And it was a nice 2021 Silverado,
Yeah.
And I
But
guess
man, I mean, it's to me when you told me that they let you take all your gear, didn't ask for your cash or anything. It's like,
well, we were in the middle of a highway. It was in the Sierra Madre Mountains. There wasn't a lot of traffic, but there was definitely traffic. I mean, we ended up getting a ride to the next town, which was an hour and a half away.
Wow.
But no, there was traffic, and that's probably why they were in a hurry. Because I think in Mexico it's probably worse than in America. That people are like, it's none of my business. I'm not going to get involved. We need more and more of that general public to get involved. You see all this silly stuff where people are getting beat up or something.
and all they're doing is videotaping it
Yeah,
because they want it to go
That-
viral instead of going and helping.
Right.
Yeah.
that's what kills me is, and segueing back to wildlife, you see, like the other day I watched something, I don't know if it was on YouTube or Instagram, I think it was on Instagram, and it showed a mountain lion chasing an elk herd, right? And this mountain lion was chasing a calf. It separated the calf, and the calf was running back and forth. The calf ran and got tangled in the fence. The mountain lion obviously caught it, and grabbed it and was dragging it off. And then the video ended with the mountain lion. Someone was doing a hero shot with the mountain lion. So did he kill the mountain lion after he let it kill the calf, or I don't know about you. I don't care if I had a gun or not, but if I saw a predator going after some wildlife, I'd pick up a rock or whatever,
Something,
something to deter it. It's just, that's the conservation in us, which is crazy. Here we're trying to save all these critters, and
So we can go shoot 'em
so we
later.
can shoot them later. Someone would think that's kind of bad, but but it's not. It's just the conservation.
Well, even
in us.
like you're telling the story about, that picture you showed me with that calf you found that was,
yeah, the
the
coyote had it
coyote-
pinned down,
Yeah.
and I thought it was dead, and ended up alive. Took it home, and the story didn't end well because it's a calf elk, and who's going to take care of it, right?
Yeah.
The Fish and Wildlife ended up euthanizing it, but at least, and that goes to the mortality rate of wildlife.
Right.
You're the 40%. You're the 40%.
yeah.
You're gonna lose somewhere, no matter what. But we gotta, as conservationists and not, hunter conservationists, right? There's no taking away that we're out there to harvest something,
Right.
but we want it to, conservation wants us to prolong it, so we have to do everything we can to, help out, further the species. If you see something wrong, or somebody doing something wrong,
Yeah.
you just raise a flag. You don't need to, everybody's like,
It leaves a bad taste for everybody when people do this bad stuff.
oh, we don't, you don't need any, with digital content now and social media, nobody needs any help figuring out how to really throw a bad twist on what we do,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So, but it's, we just need to do our part to keep it going. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking to be more seasoned.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
Hopefully we all are.
yeah, no, it's, I don't know. We could go on forever. I know you've had a lot of good stories, and you guys, your hunt you did this week with antelope, and I just love being out in the woods,
Yeah.
And it's not all about, sometimes I just go out there and I'm out there to hunt, but I'll just sit down on a hillside and just
Oh, yeah.
hang out and just watch what goes on.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of learned that, don't push it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, we all think we can, oh gosh dang, there's nothing here, I better get over that ridge. We want to keep going
Right.
and going and going and find out where that honey hole is, right?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times you sit there and you might just be relaxing for a little bit, having some lunch or something like that, and then all of a sudden stuff just starts appearing.
It does.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I remember being younger, you just go, and then you don't realize if you just sit,
Yeah.
Sit and wait.
how much stuff can happen. It's just crazy.
Yeah. People just, sometimes they'll just talk about how many miles they put on and that's probably one of the first things I think of is I wonder how much stuff you passed.
Right.
Because you didn't stop and relax.
Exactly.
And just watch things and let things happen. And
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works. So, what the old Indians used to say, walk little, look lot.
Yeah. It's so true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
With the exception of shed hunting, you got to put on a lot of miles.
That's true.
Yeah, good binoculars, right?
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah, because they don't move.
Yeah, they do not move.
but now the white sheds don't count. Remember that.
I know. I told you the story behind that one there.
Yeah, no.
That was a race with my son. So.
Yeah, it's crazy how you'll see a shed across the canyon, and you're like, gosh, that's a long ways as you're walking to it.
Right. Never deters you.
Yeah.
No matter how wide it
Went
is.
deer hunting and found 10 sheds.
Exactly.
Well, heck, John got out there a little early antelope hunting and went shed hunting.
I did, yeah. I just same thing. Just love being out there, and that part of the desert. I absolutely love it. It's awesome. But anyway, I went out 2 days before the season opened, and just so I could go walk around and look for
Nice.
sheds, and had one of my best days all year, actually.
I know. Well, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of don't do it enough, and I have some private ground where the deer winter, and I should be in there more,
Yeah. How are the blacktails doing in California?
Depends on where you are.
Yeah.
So our western herd is really doing poor. The private land stuff that we have, we do a really good job of managing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and those deer, even though they leave, some of them leave, we have our local herd and we have migrating. So that's, most of the deer herds in California are migrating.
Mm-hmm.
But the public land stuff, unfortunately, the Fish and Wildlife just, whether their hands are tied or not, I think as a biologist, I mean, you don't purposely not manage wildlife.
Right.
I think it's just the agenda or the way the system works.
Right.
A lot of it's predators too. The lack of predator control. Correct.
It is.
I think that's a big thing in California, isn't it?
It's
Don't you
huge.
think?
They took hound hunting away for bears in California.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when they had hound hunting, the quota was 1,700 bears. And we don't have a spring season, it's just fall. And so between, literally the middle of September to the end of December, we would harvest 1,700 bears. And it always went over. It always ended up somewhere around 1,750 to 1,825 or something
Just
like that.
because people hadn't turned them in yet.
Yeah, they hadn't turned them in yet by the time the season ended. Because they shut it off.
They just shut it down like mountain lion here. Yeah.
Yep, they just shut it off when they have the quota. Now the first year that they stopped hound hunting, they opened the season up earlier so you could hunt them during deer season.
Oh.
So the first season we didn't have hound hunting, they filled the quota.
Oh.
But that's because it was all the guys that just happened along a bear while they were deer hunting and shot it.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, once you shoot a bear, you figure out it's a little bit of work.
Yeah.
So these deer hunters didn't need to shoot another bear after that. So
Right.
they haven't filled the quota since.
True.
Seriously?
No, it's usually about 1,100 to anywhere from 900 to 1,300.
And they still were breeding. They didn't stop
Yeah,
breeding.
and so if you think about it,
that's-
so that's basically 600 or 700 bears that aren't getting harvested. Even if 50% of them were sows that have 2 cubs on a good year, even if they have only 1, go ahead and start adding that up every year. And it's just the way that the capacity works.
Mm-hmm.
It's growing. There's so many bears right now.
You see so much more than you used to, right?
Oh, you see them all, and mountain lions too. We haven't hunted mountain lions in California since 1972. And they shoot more now on depredation
Right.
than when they sport hunted them. With paying to shoot them
Right.
instead of geting paid to shoot 'em.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah, my uncle did that in Quartz Valley there, and he has a ranch there, and he had hounds when we were younger, and when they shut the mountain lion seasons down, then they would pay him to go
Yeah.
kill the mountain
I'd
lions.
be willing to bet if, knock on wood, if it ever happens where they open mountain lion hunting in California, that there'll be a record mountain lion come out of there.
I'm sure.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Some giants, and now the
Dying of
vicious
old age.
cycle of wolves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, add that to the mix.
add wolves to it, and then they took away the bobcat season as well.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep. So we were harvesting annually about 350 to 360 bobcats, right? So the environmentalists figure out what to target, right? So they targeted bobcats, so which this doesn't make sense to me. It should go both ways, right? So they don't have to prove that there's not enough bobcats, but the Fish and Wildlife has to do a study and prove that there is enough bobcats. So why wouldn't the environmentalists have to bring to the table something that says,
Right.
no, this study says there's only this many bobcats. Even if it was fake, they'd have to do some work to do it, and you'd probably keep them out of court. But there's plenty. I used to, just doing ranch chores, you get 5 tags, right? So just doing ranch chores, I would fill my tags every year.
Really?
Not even hunting them,
Wow.
just running across them. And now you see them, and they're not even bothered. And they'll take down a deer.
Oh, yeah, they will take
They'll
down a fawn.
deer.
Yeah.
They're heck on baby pigs
Yeah.
and quail and stuff like that, turkeys.
Yeah.
But that vicious predator cycle, it never ends, because say you have a mountain lion that needs to, maybe does a deer a week. Let's use that as an example. So he kills a deer on Tuesday. They eat the organs or whatever, buries it. He's going to come back on Wednesday or Thursday and have another meal. Well, he comes back on Wednesday. The bears, coyotes have already been in there and eaten it, so he has to go kill again.
Yeah.
So now he's killing 2, sometimes 3 deer a week instead of 1.
That makes sense. I never thought about it like
Yeah,
that.
because the
Good
population
point.
of bears is going up, so they're
and
going to
the
eat.
bears, the population of bears is reaching a mature age that they figure out how to hunt for fawns.
Well, yeah, they follow the herds around. I
Yeah.
feel like any of the ungulates, and they'll just, as they drop, they're eating those
Oh,
fawns.
they're right there.
Yeah.
And I've seen them in the wilderness where they're just graph off a hill, back and forth, just looking for a fawn. And you see the baby hooves in their poop every once in a while and
Right.
stuff, and but the older bears then teach the younger bears how to do the same thing. So it's starting to be hereditary in the
Right.
same practice.
That's interesting.
And it's just intensified by
And I don't
times
think
10.
I don't think people realize how many bears there are out there. We've talked about this before, because we get to bait here, obviously, and you put a trail camera out, there's a lot of bears out there
Yeah.
in a small area. It's like, holy cow!
And if you give them a reason to be there, they're going to be there.
100%. Yeah.
They're real. They take the path of least resistance.
Sure.
Opportunistic.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the same way in California. Even though you can't bait, you can't even use attractants there.
Really?
Yeah. So in theory, in California, if you put, say, deer scent out on a tree or something, or a wick or something like that, there's a gray area in the regulations that in theory is illegal, because
Really?
it's considered an attractant.
Wow.
They use the word attractant, not bait.
Okay.
Yeah. And it gives them this broad, decision-making process that if they're going to find something on you, they're going to find something on you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one year adding water to a trough to take a youth hunter out, because I was a little concerned the water wouldn't be there by the time opening day came up. So we packed a couple ice chests full of water, just enough to get some out there, because we wanted him to be able to get one. And Fish and Game showed up, and I mean, we about got a ticket.
For hunting over water.
Yeah, they called it baiting.
Oh, because you put water where there wasn't.
Yeah, well, there was water there already.
You just added to it.
We just added to it. Yeah.
Gosh.
And yeah, I didn't even really think about it like that. I'm thinking, man, I would never really thought about that as baiting, but because there was already water there, and I think that's probably what saved us.
Because there was already there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, well, that person said, that officer says, just hunt it, just let him hunt it, and then you guys don't come back.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's same thing, and there's some other stuff in California like that. If you read the regulations, if you were to interpret it as they wrote it, you can't hunt over water.
Really?
A pond, yeah. If you interpret it the way they write it. But then there's some in like antelope where they say, you can only spend so many hours over the water hole.
Really?
Yeah.
How did they manage that?
I don't. Hey, it's semantics and how they write it.
Wow.
They got.
Jeez.
I'd have been in trouble this year.
Yeah. How many-
Everybody
yeah,
would.
how
Who
is that?
doesn't? How could you bow hunt antelope not on water,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
You know, spot and stock, you get lucky once in a while.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it takes, 1 in 10 maybe.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the water's the way to do it. It's. I think that, unfortunately, in California, they write the legislation to try to keep you from hunting instead of give you.
It does seem that way, doesn't
Yeah.
it? I agree.
To give you a reason to go hunting. So,
Even though it generates a lot of money for.
yeah, well, and it goes.
What is the? Do you have an idea what the amount of hunters there is in California?
No, I saw it the other day, and it had gone down or something. But I mean, it's probably still 5 or 10 times more than any other state just because of our population, right?
Right.
True.
Heck, I mean, I don't know how many million people we have in California, but
But yeah, and probably a lot of those may just be duck hunters or whatever too.
yeah, there's duck hunters, bird hunters, big game hunters. But it does show it in decline, which I often wonder because I see a lot of young guys coming up that want to hunt and new guys and gals. A lot of gals are getting into it. I wonder if it's fabricated to kind of make people think it's not a good sport to get into.
Right. It's true.
Yeah, I'm sure some of that comes.
Yeah, you got to really watch out. We got a target on our back no matter where we're going.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for the conservation entities, like RMEF and Mule Deer Foundation, and being able to work with different government agencies now, and actually doing improvements that help.
Yeah.
Like fencing, taking down bad fencing on migration corridors and that kind of stuff, or making walkovers or something like that.
Yeah.
I get so sad when I see animals on the side of the road, especially in late June and July, the brand new fawns.
Yeah.
They lived for 3 or 4 weeks, and someone ran them over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you can't see a deer in the middle of the road. What if it was a person? Would
Right.
you run the person over?
Exactly.
And I actually, I talked to one of my buddies that's a CHP guy about this, and he actually said, it's really funny. He says, when they run over a person, people usually back up over them again.
Really?
Yeah,
How are you serious?
To go back and see what happened?
I guess. I don't
Wow.
know, but he said it's crazy. He says the animals, they don't even see them.
Huh.
Kind of like the motorcycle rider, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't see them.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've run over deer before, but I say I've missed way more than I've hit.
Yeah.
Right.
I think in all the mountain driving I've done, the hundreds of thousands of miles, I've only run over, hit 3 deer.
Yeah. I haven't hit many either, but the ones that I have run out.
Yeah, they
You know,
dart
they're
out.
not
I had one hit me
standing
on the
there.
door. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it ran into me.
Yeah.
But I've hit one other one is all, but
Yeah, but I've never had them standing in the road and not be able to swerve or stop.
Right.
It's
Right.
the ones that jet out of the bushes.
Yep.
And you have no reaction time.
Right.
yeah.
Which I guess if that's what's happening with people, but you got to pay attention when you're driving.
Yeah.
Man.
Stay off your damn phone.
Yeah, that's a bad one. I'm kind of guilty of that on occasion with the windshield time.
Yeah.
But in certain areas, I just
Yeah, certain
after
areas
dark.
you just can't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, but yeah. So, anyways, back to turkey hunting. What do you got planned for the spring?
Well, I'll usually try to make my trip to California. Just
Nice.
'cause it starts early and it's nice time to get away and
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I help a lot of people in California, Oregon, and Washington.
we got to get John out there turkey hunting.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's afraid to go because he might be get addicted to it because it's just another addiction you probably don't need. But
It's
That's
pretty easy
true.
to get addicted.
it is.
But
Yeah.
you guys have, really good turkey hunting in Idaho. So.
Yeah, and I don't hunt turkeys enough here. I mean, seems like I go over there, but then I usually try to hunt hogs and stuff. And
Yeah.
this next year, I should say, if everything goes right, we're going to head to Florida and with Tussie and try to get Mossy
Nice.
Oak because that's all I
Yeah.
lack for my slam.
Yeah,
A regular
I'd go every year if I could, but
Yeah.
and
Maybe get a gator.
yeah, I don't know about the gator. I'm not, like I told you, I'm not too interested in a gator, but it's pretty cool. I've been out on a number of those gator hunts.
Yeah.
and it's pretty cool.
I just figured if I'm there, it's not since I won't be going back every year.
Yeah, you have a wallet and some boots.
Yeah.
There you go.
But no, I'm trying to do like I said, this Super Slam, which is all 49 states, And
You're continuing that quest then?
yeah, I'm continuing it, and I never really thought about it. I mean, for about probably, gosh, I think 15 years I've been helping guys out get their California bird. And I actually have a guy I work with in Nevada that we have some landowner turkey tags in Nevada. And that's really the only way to get a turkey tag in Nevada. You know, they have some refuges or management areas, but very limited. And
didn't you turkey hunt out there last year? Have you been out there yet?
Not last year. So the spot we have, about 10 years ago, they had 400 birds there, and now there's like 50.
Oh,
you know,
really?
and they moved back and forth, and that something happened with the turkeys over there. They moved off or whatever,
Predators.
or got killed, and so they closed the turkey season for private land in this county, you know, in this area, and they did it again in 2024.
Oh, wow.
So
I thought, for some reason, I thought it must not have been you that had come out turkey hunting and.
yeah. Now the year before, I think 4 years ago, I shot my Nevada bird. So,
Okay.
so I'm glad I shot it early.
Yeah.
And got it out of the
Are
way.
they Rios?
Yeah, they're Rios. But that's going to be the booger. That's going to be the hard one to get.
The Rio?
No, the Nevada if
the
you're doing
Nevada.
the 49.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
because really the only place right now that has any population of turkeys that are huntable is Paradise Valley.
Really?
And the guy that runs that there, he's kind of oversold it. For 5 years, he's booked out.
Really?
Yeah. So if they don't have any, population growth, could get pretty rough.
Huh.
So hopefully the state will step in and do something. I mean, they planted them before,
Yeah.
so they should plant them again.
Yeah.
But actually manage them instead of
Yeah.
they gave out too many tags.
So it seems like Rios. Is there a reason why it seems like when they get transplanted, when turkeys get transplanted in a new area, it seems like more times than not it's Rios? Is there a reason?
I think it's just because they're the most readily available.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not the hardiest, but they do pretty well. Yeah, like I would have to imagine the birds here in Idaho are from California originally.
Could be, yeah. Like
know the
everything
Oregon-
pretty much south in the South Hills that we have, they're all Rios. Up north, they have Easterns, Rios, and Marians, so then you get a lot of bastard ones that are just a mix.
Yeah, I know
But-
most of the birds in Oregon are from California.
Are they?
Trapped them and moved them. And I think it was like in the early 70s, late 60s, they were doing turkey stuff in California.
And the ones you got in Washington are good, really good Marians.
Washington actually is another state that has all three.
Really?
So they have Easterns, they have Miriams and Rios.
Huh.
But if you hunt Easterns in Washington, man, it's hard.
Is it?
Oh, they're on the coast.
Oh.
Yeah, if you can imagine trying to hunt wet turkeys every day.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and there's not very many of them.
Huh.
And this is kind of, I hunt with the guys back east a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, like if you go to, like in Mississippi or Missouri or Alabama, for instance, the guys say, "Oh, yeah, we got quite a few turkeys," and you see a flock of turkeys, and it's like 2 toms, a Jake, and 3 hens. I'm like, that's a lot of turkeys. And I show them a picture that has like 190 turkeys.
Yeah.
Because our winter flocks are a couple hundred birds.
Yeah.
And there's just that many more birds in the west.
Huh.
And but that's why they want to come. A lot of guys are coming west to hunt turkeys.
Yeah.
Which that's great. We like having more people having fun, but just don't shoot all of them.
Yeah, really.
And they know by experience that, because in the east they're having some problems with turkeys in certain areas, and they're at least ahead of the ball and trying to do some studies to figure out why, and repopulate. But I mean, just like anything else, if there was a population problem with anything, the first thing I would do is stop shooting the girls.
True.
Yeah, that's the first thing you do.
Yeah.
They finally figured that out in the South Hills with deer.
Yeah. Yeah. A few places last year and this year that they taken some of the doe hunts, which nothing against it. I mean, I know people really want to get some meat and whatnot, but
If they're not there, they're not there.
Yeah. I mean, the management part is.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy yesterday on the way up about over here in 67, and he says the elk herd is just horrible over there right now. And there's the cows. He said the cows are all gone.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you don't have cows, bulls can't breed anything. And he said that there's a few more cows in 66, but they're not really coming across into 67. You know, so it's not a big enough herd yet.
Yeah.
But he said they did get rid of the cow hunt, the gun cow hunt.
Yeah, they got rid of a few here too in Idaho, which I think the bad thing is it's going to take some years to actually see the.
Yeah, and what they need to do is with the bow and arrow, even instead of it being a hair tag, they need to make it like a spike up tag.
Yeah.
That's going to keep you from, because I mean, none of us target a cow, but you know, if you get on day 8 or 9 and you want some elk meat and it's in your tag that you can shoot a cow, you're probably going to, you know.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Nothing against people that do it all, but
I've shot one cow in all my existence, and
not saying I never would,
and
but I just haven't yet.
And a couple spikes, you know, but it's just elk meat, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. I'd have a hard time shooting a cow.
I just figure that there's enough being killed by people that.
You don't need help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
even antelope. As much as I love antelope meat,
yeah.
I don't know if I could go out. You know, you hear about guys going to Wyoming and you know, they get a
buck
tag, and then you buy like 3 doe tags.
Yeah.
I'm like, gosh dang, I like antelope meat, but I don't really need to shoot that many, you know.
I did shoot a doe antelope one time, and I was planning on hunting like a week or whatever, and I got sick, really sick.
Did you?
Yeah, and it was like day 4, and I was just like, I wanted that whole thing over and get home, and I didn't want to have to go back, so I shot a doe. But of course, a buck came in right after that.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
The pigs are what's really bad, and we try to shoot boars only. And the pigs in California are so prolific, nobody cares, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I can look at them, and there's certain times they're always bred.
Yeah,
there's certain times
that's true.
of the year. And, I mean, I've opened them up and had a pile of babies roll out. And who wants that?
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Even for the hunter.
Right.
You know, you don't. You know,
That's
like
true.
sometimes I had a guy make a mistake one time, and shot a big old sow, and like, geez, that thing's loaded, man. So I said, hey, go over there for a little while, you know, because I didn't want him to see that, you know, you really didn't kill one pig, you killed 16.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you know, and to some people that doesn't really matter, and that's, you know, whatever. But you know, it should matter.
Yeah.
I've hunted hogs primarily in California. I went to Texas one time, and I actually was after other things. But one thing I like about it there is that, you're not hunting over feed or anything, but even though it's private land, it doesn't mean they're going to be there from day to day. You know, you could go out there one day and see just a couple, and the next day see a pile of them. It just they move around so much.
Sure is fun though. If anything was built for archery hunting, them pigs were. Huh?
Oh man, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a blast.
But like that big boar you shot when you came with us, you really only need one.
Yeah.
I see you have a couple over there.
Well, that's him in the middle.
Yeah.
But I actually took the skulls there. You could see it right above the horn from the buffalo there.
Yeah.
I had its mouth replicated
Oh, gotcha.
to put in the mount. So
Oh,
then
there
that
you
was
go.
actually Eric's idea.
Yeah.
And so there's a guy here, local guy that used to do replica horns and stuff, and I had him do that. So then, for one thing, they won't crack.
Oh, gotcha.
But then also I could keep the European, part
pretty
of
cool.
the,
Yeah, they're a real good conversation piece.
Yeah.
Just the European.
Yeah. Yeah, people look at those and think how ugly, he's not very handsome with a split ear and all that.
Yeah, he's a rough one, but yeah, I had I think I shot one with my bow many years ago. It was like 3 1/8 tusks.
Wow.
And I put that one on the wall.
Yeah.
And I had one on the wall forever. And when we sold our business, I brought it home. And I put it on the wall, and my wife didn't like that.
Where's it at now?
It's at my wife's cousin's.
That's it?
Yeah, he's got a great place, kind of like this, high ceilings,
Yeah.
a lot of room. So, like when I trade stuff out, because I don't have a lot of room in my house. I have a dude room, kind of like this, but it's smaller, have a nice bar and stuff, but low ceiling. So I have a few of the nicer animals in there and rotate them out once in a while. So then if he wants to put them on display at his house, he can have them, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. My wife let me, that one big blacktail I shot, the 198 and 4.
Yeah.
My wife let me put that one in the front room. She said, "Oh, you know what? That's pretty nice. It's on a pedestal. It was art, right?" You know, and Eric did that one. She says, "You can put that in the front room," and it was like, well, it lasted about 2 weeks.
Did it?
And I don't like it in here. So,
That was a dandy blacktail.
yeah. And I don't mind like putting them on loan to different stores and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because I think that if we shoot exceptional animals, they should be displayed.
Yeah.
You know, for other people to see.
Yeah.
You know, this is what happens if you manage stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
This
True.
is the capability of the species. So,
Yeah.
and I have like, gosh dang, I don't even know how many critters at different taxidermy shops.
Do you?
Yeah, I have a turkey I shot in Illinois. It's in my buddy's farmhouse in Iowa. I just need to figure out how to get home. And most of the stuff, though, I'll just send the skin home, have my guy do it.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
turkeys.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple local taxidermists that are pretty good.
Yeah.
It's actually, I haven't had a bad experience like some people with a taxidermist.
Yeah.
You know, the worst experience I've had is just taking too long.
Yeah.
You know, not like some of these guys you hear about, oh, I got the wrong hide, or this isn't even my animal, that kind of stuff, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah, those are bad horror stories because they're each critter is so unique
yeah.
that
Although
bad deal.
I say that, and then I have this guy in this taxidermist back east that has one of my turkey skins and 2 of my buddy Ted's turkey skins that he's had since 2021.
Oh.
And all I want is the skins. to
Oh, really?
Send back, you know, so I'll have my guy mount them here.
Yeah.
But that guy is like, he's got a good reputation, but seems like somewhere along the way they all get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know, as far as when I say trouble, business trouble,
Yeah.
where they just get behind.
Yeah.
And this guy here won't even call back or nothing.
Yeah, and I would imagine if it's in the freezer, it's going to get freezer burn after.
Yeah, I don't know
So
how
much
long
time.
those turkey hides last.
As thin as they are.
Yeah,
You would
you would
think
think.
that they
But
would.
heck, I just want to get it back here and get it started because that's a Gould's.
Oh.
Or not a Gould's, I'm sorry. It's a Osceola from Mike,
Oh, okay.
you know.
Yeah, we'll have to get John out there to maybe out to your place.
Yeah, coming out. And don't tell anybody, but California is probably the best opportunity for turkeys as far as financially in the
Is it?
country.
Yeah.
You just buy a 2-day bird license,
Oh.
and it covers turkeys. You
Huh.
get one a day.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's like $63.
Yeah, I know
or
it's pretty cheap.
$65
I usually just buy my regular hunting license because I'm going to put in for Thule elk. And
Yeah, and if you have
Anyway.
your regular hunting license, it covers turkey. You just need an
Yeah.
upland stamp is all.
yeah.
I think it's up to $15 now.
Yeah.
It used to be 8 or something, but no, it's and there's plenty of turkeys, but just like everything else, it's hunting. You know, you got to time it out to,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm not into hunting turkeys if they're not talking.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like some of these guys can sit in one place for a day and wait for a turkey to walk by.
Right.
Not me. In fact, those birds in Washington, I went up and hunted those because I was trying to shoot an eastern up there. And I ran into a guy up there he's got like 13 or 14 years that he's shot all 3 of his turkeys in Washington.
Really?
Like you get a special certificate if you shoot all 3 every year
Huh?
in Washington. And he lives there and he goes turkey hunting a lot. But I was talking to him and I'm like, I had found some turkeys. And I'm like, well, how do you usually hunt these things? And he goes, well, I'll get set up down here and I'll just yelp every once in a while and just wait for them to like get in between their feeding and wherever they're going in the trees to shade up for the day.
No.
And I said, oh, okay. So, well, what do you call like every half hour? He said, about a half hour, 45 minutes. And I said, well, how long do you sit there? He says, 6 or 7 hours. I said, whoa, you'll sit 6 or 7 hours for a turkey that's not making any noise? I'm out.
Yeah, you don't even know they're there.
I won't sit that long for a deer. But no, if they're not talking, it's like it's really not that much fun, because if you're just waiting for them and they're not playing the game, it's just about killing.
Yeah.
You know?
So what all you got left this fall? You said
So this trip, I'm on my way to a moose hunt in
Moose hunt.
Saskatchewan. That should be a good time. We're going straight to the dock on Saturday, and they're float planing us into a lake that hasn't been hunted in a couple years.
nice.
For bigger moose. That should be good, and real good fishing on these lakes up there. I'm looking forward to catching some. I guess I have northern pike and walleyes.
Nice.
And everyone I talk to, they say these walleyes are. If you eat walleyes, you won't eat anything else.
Yeah.
Walleyes is I've unfortunately never fished for walleye.
I haven't either.
I haven't
have
had them
them all
given
over
to
here.
me. Pardon me.
We
you
have
have
them
'em?
all over here, yeah.
Yeah, and we have them all over here, and I've been invited countless times and just haven't went. But man, that's one of
Yeah,
my
I hear
favorites
it's
by
good.
far. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll come back from there, and then I got to take the guy. End of the month, I got to take the guy antelope hunting
Uh huh.
and hope he's shooting straight.
Oh, yeah.
He
That
will.
guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He'll hit one if we put one in front of him, because that season ends the 30th of the month, the end of the
Okay.
month. And then we have for myself, I'll deer hunt locally, with my grandson and a few other people. Then off to Colorado,
Colorado. Yeah.
and then back to California for mule deer, and then
You're all done with
probably
elk this year for guiding.
what's that now?
All done with guiding for elk?
Well, we have an elk hunter this weekend, but I'm not guiding him.
Oh.
I have another guy helping. We actually have 2 elk hunters this week. One of them is kind of a landowner elk tag, and it's do-it-yourself thing.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is one of our club members that's, he knows the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do on that, some of the ranches, the elk come and go so infrequently, is we'll do like a entry fee, so like a trespass fee,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have a harvest trophy schedule. So, and usually if you shoot a bull under 350, you're not paying too much.
Really?
Yeah, but it starts going up pretty fast.
By the inch?
Yeah, well, no, it's a graduated scale, but I think 350 is the mark.
Yeah.
I mean, if you find a 350 bull and you shoot a 350 over a 350 bull, you've done a pretty good job, and you don't mind paying.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And it's way cheaper than anywhere else. I mean, you get these guys that are paying $25,000-$30,000 and shooting a 340.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, that's a good bull.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna pay a bunch of money, I would think you can wait.
Yeah. Right on. Well, we appreciate you taking the time, and
Oh, I love it. Like I say, we've been talking about it forever.
I know we have
geez.
literally since.
And it might be sooner than you think I'll be bothering you, because
That's fine.
we're ready to get out of California, man. I'll
Yeah,
tell
that's
you.
fine.
Yeah. I think I could probably save just in the tax benefits from getting out of California
Yeah.
and go on a lot more hunts.
Oh yeah,
No
for sure.
kidding, huh?
How many more years till your wife retires?
Probably 4.
Because you're pretty remote, what you do, huh?
Yeah, what I do, I can do anywhere, and the only reason I'm still working actually on the 9 to 5 job is, we sold the injection molding wheel company out of Reading in
Yeah.
2017,
Uh-huh.
and it's the brand. I worked there my whole life, 45 years in the brand.
Wow.
It's more of a visceral thing about the brand, that as soon as if this other company really has it down, where they get it and they're clicking on all cylinders, then I'm ready to get out. But until then, and it's like I say, it's what I've done my whole life, so it's easy.
Yeah.
I just went to it's BMX wheels, so I went to a event last weekend in Angel Camp, and it was a old school BMX race.
Really?
Yeah, a bunch of old seasoned guys.
Really? Nice.
And it was the same guys that were riding bikes for us in the 80s for our
Really?
company.
I bet that was cool.
They were, young guys, and they were racing. And yeah, it was really good to see those guys. And It's fun to see
Some of the
them.
older guys are racing,
Oh yeah, yeah, still.
lost their hair, gray hair and shit.
Yeah, no hair or whatever, but yeah, it's good to see them still engaged in the industry.
Heck
No
yeah.
kidding.
'Cause
That's
they loved it
cool.
when they were younger and
Yeah.
racing. So, yeah, stuff like that. And there's new BMX where younger kids are getting involved.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see younger kids getting outside and putting the phone away and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you do. If it's BMX, motocross, hunting,
Yeah.
whatever you want to do outside, just get outside,
Absolutely.
man. Get your. I mean, these glasses I have supposedly have that special coating that helps you out on the computer.
Yeah. That blue.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. If they have to make some glasses that have a special coating,
Right.
there's something not right with a computer.
Yeah.
There you go.
True.
So, but cool. No, I appreciate you guys, man. And like I say,
Yeah, we appreciate everything, because realistically, I mean, not only we knew you through Mossy Oak years ago, but when it came a few years back when Nomad was looking for
Yeah.
some presence out, a little more presence out west and some content being done, you were kind of the person that sent me towards Tussey and
Oh, yeah.
enabled us to.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's a who you know world, man.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, but we
right.
appreciate that. 'cause
And if
it's
you're
been
a dud,
good gig.
if you're thinking, well, I'm not a part of that who you know world, you might want to look at yourself because you're probably a dud.
Ouch.
Good point.
Yeah, yeah. We don't need to waste our time spending time with people that you don't enjoy being around.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Good point.
Don't be mean, but
Yeah.
just be good about yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
well, hopefully we'll get some field time together. Maybe next year we can do some
I'm
stuff.
in. I got kind of rehooked, shooting an antelope this year, so I'm kind of like, I got points in Arizona, Utah, California for antelope. So
Yeah,
Wyoming.
yeah.
So it's time
That
to
was
go.
a cool buck that you did get too this year.
Yeah, yeah. You don't see the antelope very often. It's 19 and a half inches wide.
Yeah, yeah.
Lad boy. That's nice.
Yeah, nope. Cool factor is what it was. Sometimes you just see something.
Exactly.
You just fall in love with it.
Yeah.
That's the one I want.
I
Yeah.
say that a lot about antelope. I just want some wow factor. I don't care about the score.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
won't
That's what it
even
is,
get
you
this
know?
year swoop back like
Swoops.
yeah.
Yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
I missed him, but that's how it goes.
He's still there though, right?
He's still out there.
Gonna get bigger, hopefully.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get back
Well, is
out
your
there.
season over though?
No, I'll head back out. I was hoping to be done. I've got a muzzleloader bull hunt coming up pretty quick. And then right after that, 1st November, I have a muzzleloader deer hunt. So I was trying to get that all.
What muzzleloader are you shooting?
It is the
CVA.
CVA, yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
my brain just went
Yeah,
blank.
that's
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out for that muzzleloader hunt because I have 3 muzzleloaders sitting at my house right
Mm-hmm.
now. I have one of those 700s, then I have my Tradition, and then I have a CVA sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just ordered some new sights because in California you can't use any optics.
Is that here too? Yeah, it has to be open sights. And
Okay, got it. So
Yep.
have you looked at those Williams?
I have them on mine.
Oh,
I like it.
The
Yeah.
peep?
Yep.
yeah, that's what I'm putting on.
Yeah.
With the 3 lines on it.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because I figured with a muzzleloader, even though with that system you should be able to shoot out to about 230.
Probably, I haven't tried. I think the bull I shot last time was about 150 yards. That's as far as I've shot.
Yeah, and that's what I figure is, I mean, muzzleloader's supposed to be primitive weapons.
Right.
I was looking, we have one of those Remington 700s that I was going to take the scope off and redo the sights, but I don't really want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at those, I think it's Gunworks has a sight for that, a peep sight.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a dial on it.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, 600 or 700 yards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that really muzzleloader hunting?
Yeah. It's not.
Exactly. That's how I like it for the challenge. too,
Years
you
ago,
know?
I mean, my dad, I don't think he'd ever think of taking a shot that far.
Right.
Yeah.
600 yards. Of
Right.
course,
I always wonder those old westerns, like those Quigley Down Under
Right.
ones,
Yeah.
where he pulls that up,
Yeah.
and you see him elevate a little bit. How far is he really shooting?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
90 yards.
That's fun. Well, good for you, man. That sounds like fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be good.
That muzzleloader gives you definitely gives you some opportunity.
Oh, I've been hunting for quite a few years with it, and Yeah, that's why I started, was the opportunity, honestly. In fact, I drew the deer hunt last year, muzzleloader deer. So we have to sit out a year here before you can put in again. But we had the second chance drawings. People that don't pick up their tags, they have second chance. There was one tag left for that unit that I drew last year. So I put in for the second chance. I was allowed to do that, and I freaking drew that one tag.
Dang, good for you. It was meant to be.
Yeah,
that was meant
so
to
I'm
be.
super
You were
stoked
like
to be back.
almost not even going to put in for it, and you thought kind of what the heck, right?
Yeah, because I'd already drawn, the elk tag. I drew that on the first go, and there was only 20 of those tags, actually. So I was pretty fortunate on that. And then, I was like, well, what the heck? It would spread my season out, so it actually works really well.
Yeah, that did, because the time frames for those is far enough away. You got
Yeah. Yep. So anyway,
I like it.
we'll see.
Yeah, in California, you're not going to rut hunt deer unless you use a bow or a muzzleloader.
Right.
Or a PLM tag.
It's really like that here. I mean, I think there's a couple rifle hunts for during the rut for the mule deer, but for the most part, you got archery or muzzleloader. It's
That's
so
the way it
much
should
fun,
be, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, if you can't get close on a deer when it's dumb.
It's true. It's true. And the one I shot last year was real dumb.
Yeah. It's the does you got to worry about.
It is,
They got to
100%.
figure it out. Those old does that are some of the sentinel ones that aren't even breeding.
Right.
yeah.
And they just figure it out.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Well, cool.
All right. Well, thanks very much for your time. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks, John. John hurried back last night,
No,
so
he
we can
did.
get this done today. And
So where do you broadcast this podcast?
we're on through Podbean. We're on Spotify,
Most all of the
iHeart, iTunes, all those, and
Yep.
then YouTube. We launch it on
Yep.
Sagebuck Productions
Got it.
Sagebuck Outdoors.
or Outdoors.
So do you post
Outdoors. Sorry, he
Do you
changed
post
it
a
to
link or
Outdoors.
something? Or
Yeah. And we of course, people subscribe already
gotcha.
go on it.
Yeah, I need to do that. And I might already. I don't know. I can't keep track of all that
I know.
stuff.
It's a lot.
Sorry, John. Color Productions.
It's all right. I'll forgive you. Still happens.
Used to be Productions
Years ago.
when he was small time.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we first met, was through that. You helped us with a video.
Yep.
Yeah.
We,
The elk one.
Yeah, that close and you can still find that on.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube.
It's still on there.
I go there and look at it every so often.
Yeah.
And it was a cool video. If you haven't seen it, go to, I think it is called Close Encounters.
Close Encounters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put a link on this too, so you can check
And
it out.
it was a bull, one of the bulls down there. Actually, it ended up being 365 and 5, I think, with 20 inches broke off. So it was a big bull.
He was big.
And actually, the funny or the ironic, drama part of the whole video is when the elk was probably about 9 yards from me, and then the guy shot.
That's right.
And it ran right at me. So I'm falling backwards with the camera.
That's right.
and
I forgot about that.
And the film is going up across the elk's chin,
Oh, wow.
but it ran right by me, and of course died right there. But
Right.
but yeah, it was a big enough. It was pretty a cool video where he's coming in bugling, slobbering, and
It was really cool. If you haven't checked it out, you should. It's
Yeah.
not a very long video, but it is super awesome.
Yeah, I used to try to do all that stuff, not to get back on some more time, but that video stuff, man, there is a lot of animals that are alive today because of cameras.
I have one. Swoops is alive because of a camera, actually.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't shoot.
Right?
Didn't get a shot. The buck I did kill because of
Yeah.
camera. I was trying to get
Ah.
that, and I wasn't trying to, because last year I rushed shot on a buck before I killed the one I did and missed because I was trying to rush and worried about my arrow hitting the blind and just a whole kind of a bunch of different things. I just rushed, punched the trigger, who knows what, and missed completely. So I was really adamant about this year. I'm not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
If I don't get the shot, I don't get the shot. But I did want to get it on film if I could,
Right.
and it finally did get it.
I
done.
tried that for a long time, and I don't know. Kudos to these guys like Remy and Tim.
Oh, yeah,
They
solo hunter
do
guys.
their own hunt,
Yeah.
self-filming and stuff. But man, I'm just programmed to harvest,
Right.
Yeah.
And
It's a
so many
whole-
times it doesn't work out, and not that I think it's great to try to share your experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's your experience, right?
It kind of, for me at least, even filming the beginning, John added some stuff from years ago that I had, but a lot of it was because my dad was getting older and he wanted to go be out there, but he didn't bow hunt. But just the whole idea of being out there was for me just to try to film it so I can bring it back and show it to him.
Gotcha.
And a lot of times it didn't leave any more farther than me hooking the camera up to the TV and him watching it on TV, and
Right.
that's where it went. So,
And there's nothing wrong with that. I like doing that too. I filmed that trifecta last year,
did you?
but I haven't done anything with it. You know,
Oh.
I'm kind of like on the fence on that. Now, do you really need to be that busy or have that many people? Because I think there's really more people than we would ever realize that want to do that.
Yeah.
And can afford it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
True.
Yeah, you might be opening
That's
up a
true.
can of worms, huh?
I know. It's you got to wonder, huh?
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, well, I bet you would. It would, for sure. 'Cause
Yeah, it's definitely a cool deal, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, great guys.
Thank you.
Well, let's move on. I probably ought to
You got to hit the road.
head north.
Yeah,
Yeah, got
nice.
some
Travel
driving.
safe.
Yeah.
Send
See
us
if
some.
they're
We'll
gonna,
look forward to getting some
see how
pictures
the
here.
Canadian border is. See if they still like us as Americans.
Right.
Well, you're pretty adamant about making sure you crossed your T's and dotted your I's with what you can
Yeah,
take
I got
and stuff.
everything then. Yeah, it shouldn't be any problem.
Good.
Actually, harder to get back into the United States once you leave. Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
All
thanks,
right, well,
guys.
thanks,
Thank-
John.
Yeah, thank
We'll
you
talk
guys.
to you later. And
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
like and subscribe.
Yep. We'll see you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.